Imagine going for a simple walk in a grassy field, getting bitten by a tiny tick you never even notice. And days later, that single bite begins a disease process capable of affecting your skin, joints, brain, nerves, and heart. This is the fascinating and dangerous pathophysiology of Lyme disease. Lyme disease is caused by Borrelia burgdorferi, a spiral-shaped bacterium called a spirochete. Its corkscrew shape is not just for appearance. It actually helps the organism move through tissues more easily, almost like drilling through the body. This unique movement is one reason Lyme disease can spread from one small skin lesion into a multi-system disease. The disease process starts when an infected black-legged tick, commonly called a deer tick, attaches to human skin. The tick usually feeds silently because its saliva contains substances that reduce pain and local immune detection. This is why many patients never realize they were bitten. The tick does not immediately transmit infection. It usually must remain attached for around 24 to 48 hours before the bacteria move from the tick's gut into its salivary glands and then into the human body. This is a major clinical point to remember because early tick removal can significantly reduce infection risk. Once Borrelia burgdorferi enters the skin, the first stage begins with local multiplication. The bacteria remain at the bite site initially and start reproducing within skin tissues. The immune system quickly detects bacterial invasion and activates an inflammatory response. White blood cells migrate to the area, blood vessels dilate, and inflammatory mediators are released. This local inflammation produces redness and expansion of the famous erythema migrans rash. It's often called the bullseye rash. Think of this rash as the body's visible warning signal. The center may look lighter while the outer ring expands because the bacteria spread outward through skin tissue while inflammation follows them. A simple way to remember the early stage is the mnemonic rash. R stands for red expanding lesion. A stands for aches and fever, S stands for skin inflammation, and H stands for host immune activation. During this stage, patients often develop fever, fatigue, chills, headache, muscle pain, and malaise. These symptoms are not caused directly by tissue destruction, but mainly by cytokine release. Inflammatory mediators such as interleukins and tumor necrosis factors circulate in the bloodstream and create flu-like symptoms. Now comes the most dangerous part of Lyme disease, pathophysiology. Borrelia burgdorferi is extremely clever at immune evasion. Most bacteria are quickly recognized and destroyed, but Lyme bacteria can alter their outer surface proteins. This makes them harder for the immune system to identify consistently. In simple words, the bacteria keep changing their disguise. They also bind to host tissues, helping them hide from immune cells. This immune evasion allows the bacteria to survive, persist, and continue spreading. After surviving local defenses, the bacteria enter nearby blood vessels and lymphatic channels. This is called hematogenous dissemination, meaning spread through the bloodstream. At this point, Lyme disease is no longer just a skin infection. The bacteria now travel throughout the body and begin targeting distant organs. The major organs affected can be remembered with the mnemonic JHN, standing for joints, heart, and nervous system. In the joints, especially large joints like the knees, bacterial antigens trigger an intense inflammatory response. Immune cells infiltrate the synovial membrane, causing synovitis. Fluid accumulates inside the joint space, leading to swelling, warmth, pain, and stiffness. This is known as Lyme arthritis. A classic exam tip is to remember that Lyme arthritis commonly affects the knee and may cause intermittent episodes of swelling. When the nervous system is involved, the condition is called neuroborreliosis. The bacteria can affect the meninges, cranial nerves, peripheral nerves, and sometimes brain tissues. Inflammation of the meninges may cause meningitis with severe headache, neck stiffness, and photophobia. Involvement of cranial nerve 7 causes Bell's palsy, leading to sudden facial drooping. This happens because inflammation disrupts normal nerve conduction. Peripheral nerve inflammation can cause numbness, tingling, burning pain, and weakness. Some patients may even develop cognitive symptoms such as memory problems or difficulty concentrating. A high-yield clinical tip is this: if a patient has a history of outdoor exposure, facial palsy, and flu-like symptoms, always think about Lyme disease as a possible cause. Bell's palsy is not always idiopathic. Cardiac involvement is another serious complication. When bacteria spread to the heart, they cause Lyme carditis. The bacteria trigger inflammation within cardiac tissues, especially the electrical conduction system. The atrioventricular node is commonly affected, which may result in conduction abnormalities such as a V-block. Patients may complain of palpitations, dizziness, chest discomfort, shortness of breath, or syncope. In severe cases, heart block can become life-threatening and require hospitalization or temporary pacing. A useful mnemonic for cardiac red flags is block. B stands for bradycardia. L stands for lightheadedness. O stands for out-of-rhythm heartbeat. C stands for chest discomfort. And K stands for known tick exposure. If Lyme disease remains untreated, chronic inflammation may continue. Even when bacterial numbers decrease, immune-mediated inflammation can persist and damage tissues. This explains why some patients develop prolonged arthritis, chronic fatigue, neuropathy, and lingering musculoskeletal symptoms. Delayed treatment increases the chance of these complications, which is why early recognition is critical. Special situations are very important in clinical practice. In pregnant patients, doxycycline is generally avoided, so alternatives such as amoxicillin are often preferred. In children, antibiotic selection depends on age and disease severity. In patients with severe neurological symptoms or cardiac involvement, intravenous ceftriaxone is commonly used because it provides stronger systemic treatment. The most important takeaway is that Lyme disease follows a predictable sequence. First comes tick attachment, then bacterial transmission, followed by local skin infection, immune activation, immune evasion, bloodstream dissemination, and finally, organ-specific complications. If you understand this sequence, Lyme disease becomes much easier to recognize and manage clinically. So, remember Lyme disease with one final mnemonic: ticks. T stands for tick bite, I stands for immune response, C stands for circulation spread, K stands for knee arthritis and cardiac issues, and S stands for nervous system complications. One tiny tick can trigger a surprisingly complex disease process. But understanding the pathophysiology step by step allows healthcare professionals to detect it early, treat it effectively, and prevent serious complications.